Imagine a roaring crowd. The sun is hot. You can taste the dust in the air. In the center of it all, two gladiators prepare to fight. They are armed with swords and shields. Their lives hang in the balance. This was the world of the Roman gladiatorial games. It was a world of violence and spectacle, but also a world of skill, courage, and surprisingly, even fame. From dawn to dusk, the Colosseum and arenas across the Roman Empire were stages for these brutal yet captivating displays. Gladiators, often slaves or prisoners of war, were forced to fight for their lives. These fights were not just chaotic brawls. They were exhibitions of skill, strategy, and raw human emotion. Join me now as we delve deeper into the world of these ancient warriors. The life of a gladiator was far from glamorous. They lived in a training school known as a ludus. Their days began before sunrise and ended with exhaustion. Every waking moment was dedicated to honing their skills and preparing for the next fight. Their days started with a meager breakfast of barley porridge. This was followed by hours of grueling physical training. Gladiators practiced with wooden swords and shields, often heavier than the real things. They sparred with each other, learning to attack and defend with deadly precision. Discipline was strict, but within the brutal routines, a sense of camaraderie often developed among the gladiators. Not all gladiators were created equal. They were categorized into different types, each with its own unique weapons, armor, and fighting style. The Murmillo, for example, was a heavily armored warrior, while the Retiarius relied on speed and agility, armed with a net and trident. These different types of gladiators were often pitted against each other in carefully orchestrated matchups. The goal was to create a spectacle that was both entertaining and suspenseful. Imagine a nimble threx armed with a small sword and shield, facing off against a heavily armored hoplomachus wielding a spear and a small, round shield. These fights were not just random acts of violence. They were governed by rules and officiated by referees. Gladiators were expected to fight with honor and skill. Section 4. Idols of the Arena. Gladiators and Roman Society. Gladiators occupied a peculiar position in Roman society. They were both admired and despised, celebrated and shunned. They were the stars of their time, their faces appearing on mosaics and frescoes throughout the Roman Empire. The public perception of gladiators was complex. On the one hand, they were seen as heroes, their bravery and fighting prowess captivating the imaginations of men and women alike. They were symbols of strength, skill, and the Roman ideal of virtues. On the other hand, gladiators were often drawn from the ranks of slaves and criminals. Despite their low social standing, successful gladiators could achieve fame and fortune. They earned money for their fights, and some even gained their freedom. Section 5. Beyond the Arena, the Human Story of Gladiators. It's easy to get caught up in the spectacle of gladiatorial combat, but we must remember that these were real people with their own hopes, dreams, and fears. They were fathers, husbands, and sons who were forced into a brutal profession, risking their lives for the entertainment of others. We know very little about the personal lives of most gladiators. However, archaeological discoveries and the deciphering of ancient inscriptions have provided us with glimpses into their world. One poignant example is the inscription on the tombstone of a gladiator named Spartacus. This simple inscription reminds us that these men were not just nameless fighters, they were individuals with their own stories to tell. Section 6. The enduring legacy of the gladiators. The gladiatorial games eventually came to an end with the fall of the Roman Empire. But the legend of the gladiator has endured through the ages, captivating our imaginations for centuries. From literature to film, we continue to be drawn to their stories of courage, skill, and the will to survive. Why are we still so fascinated by gladiators? Perhaps it is because their stories tap into something primal within us. Or maybe it is because their struggles resonate with our own struggles against adversity. Whatever the reason, the legacy of the gladiators continues to live on, not just in the ruins of ancient arenas, but also in our books, our movies, and our collective imagination. Their stories remind us of the power of the human spirit, both its capacity for great violence and its potential for extraordinary courage and resilience.